For decades, we believed sunscreen was simple. Rub it on, block the sun, and stay safe. It was one of medicine's great success stories, a way to prevent sunburn, skin cancer, and premature aging. But what if that story is only half complete? I'm Dr. Chris Ho, a skin cancer physician here in Brisbane, Australia. And today I want to take you through what has changed, the science, the ingredients, and the conversations about safety that are still evolving. Sunscreen, let's start at the beginning. In the 1940s and 50s, early sunscreens were crude. They blocked some UVB, but not UVA, and they used a handful of chemical filters. The first being para-aminobenzoic acid, or PABA, PABA. At that time, it was revolutionary. For the first time, people could spend longer outdoors without burning. It helped soldiers in tropical climates and families on the beach. And for years, doctors thought it was entirely harmless. Then, in the 1970s and 80s, reports began to appear. Allergic rashes, photoallergic reactions, and a small percentage of users developing red, itchy skin after PABA exposure. For about 1 in 10 people, the molecule that was protecting them also irritated them. It wasn't toxic, but it was uncomfortable. And that was enough to trigger reformulation. Companies began to replace PABA with newer filters like cinnamates, salicylates, and later avobenzone to broaden the protection into UVA range as well. Soon, the label started appearing, "This is PABA free," and the public perception flipped. A once celebrated ingredient was now viewed as dangerous. The truth was more ordinary. Dermatology has simply moved forward, but marketing thrived on contrast. PABA free sounded safer, cleaner, and better. From there, a pattern was set. Each decade brought new filters and new worries. Through the 1990s and the 2000s, oxybenzone and octinoxate became the backbone of modern chemical sunscreens. They offered broad spectrum protection, excellent stability, and comfort on the skin. Yet a small number of lab studies found traces of these molecules in blood and urine after heavy and repeated application. That discovery ignited headlines. Sunscreen chemicals enter the bloodstream. But what those headlines didn't explain was dose and context. Detectable doesn't mean dangerous. The amounts were tiny, far below any known toxic levels. Still, fear spreads faster than nuance. Concerns rose about hormone disruption, fertility, coral reef safety, and micropollution. Some of those concerns had merit, especially environmental ones, but many were exaggerated and poorly evidenced. Governments acted cautiously. Hawaii and Palau banned certain filters to protect reefs, while skin cancer doctors reminded the public that skin cancer prevention still outweighed the theoretical risks. In Australia, regulators reviewed these studies carefully. The Therapeutic Goods Administration reaffirmed that approved sunscreens remain safe and effective for use when directed. The greatest proven risk remains not using enough sunscreen and therefore increasing your chance of sunburn, melanoma, and aging. So, what has genuinely changed since the 1970s? Formulations are now more sophisticated. Broad spectrum protection means both UVA and UVB are covered. Filters are more stable, less irritating, and balanced for cosmetic comfort. We added mineral options, zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, and it's now micronized into nanoparticles to remove the old white cast while remaining on the surface of the skin. Earlier fears about nanoparticles penetrating and harming living tissue have not been borne out by any science. Multiple studies confirm that these mineral particles stay in the outermost dead layer of skin and do not enter the bloodstream. The same scrutiny that once retired PABA is now applied to every new ingredient. Oxybenzone and octocrylene are still under study, mainly for environmental persistence rather than human toxicity. Some newer filters like Tinosorb S and M and Mexoryl SX offer better stability with lower absorption. Europe and Asia have already adopted many of these, and Australia is gradually following suit. But let's pause on something important. The modern fear narrative that sunscreens are full of chemicals and unsafe mirrors what happened to PABA decades ago. Small studies, incomplete data, then marketing amplification. A handful of influencers now repeat the same pattern, warning of toxic sunscreens without context. They are not all conspiracy theorists. Most simply misunderstand how risk is measured. In toxicology, the dose defines the danger. Even water is toxic at the wrong dose. The trace absorption of a UV filter is not same as poisoning. So what should you actually do? First, keep using sunscreen daily, broad spectrum, SPF 50 plus. Match it to your skin and situation. If you have sensitive skin, choose fragrance-free mineral or hybrid formulas. If you swim often, look for reef-considerate versions that omit certain chemicals. Third, remember that sunscreen is one part of a bigger picture. Your protective clothing, the shade on top, the timing of your exposure still matter. And fourth, stay open to evidence. Science will keep improving these products. That's progress, not contradiction. The science of safety evolves just as medicine does. What matters is that we keep refining our understanding instead of freezing it in fear. Yes, doctors used to think sunscreen was always safe, and we still think it's overwhelmingly safe when used properly. What's the difference now is our awareness of the nuance of allergies, ingredients, and environmental responsibility. The solution isn't panic, it's progress through better design, better regulation, and better understanding. I'm Dr. Chris Ho. This is No Hype Health Talk. Thank you for caring enough to ask hard questions about sunscreen and safety. Keep learning, keep protecting your skin, and never let fear be your filter against the sun.